And welcome back once again, esports fans. We have got an absolute banger of a match with PSG taking on Machi Esports in just a few moments. But before we get into that one, of course, I'm still Pyrotechnics. He is still Clement, and our wonderful sponsors still below on the screen. CTBC Bank, China Airlines, Chunghwa Telecom. Thank you all for making the PCS possible. All right, Clement, this one is going to be an absolute doozy. 11-0, still undefeated are PSG, although it was very close last week. And Machi, of course, not too far behind them at 8-3.
We have the first place team versus the third place team. And if you've been watching the PCS, you know that these teams that showed up in the majority of the finals so far, spring was actually a little bit of an abnormality as Beyond Gaming took towards the Rift. We do have to talk about them in this matchup. In this year, we have not seen Machi overtake PSG just yet. But Machi are getting a lot better, I think, especially in their top side and in Jimian's recent performances. There's a lot of anticipation for the two rookies to finally be taking on Hanabi and taking on Maple, who, to be honest, in the past have gotten the much better outside of the trade. So
well,
I think those solo
lanes,
it definitely does. Those two solo lanes are where I think most of our eyes are on. In the bot lane, though, with Unified and Kaiwing, you sort of expect that to come out on top of Machi X's top lane, bottom lane. And we did have a very interesting draft last time around with the Bard from Kaiwing and the Pike from Koala.
Yeah, things go a little differently sometimes in that one. I don't know if we'll get that again, although I do like seeing Kaiwing's Bard come out a couple of times. Speaking of interesting pickups for last week, PSG, also brought back an old favorite. River got to pick up the Nidalee, and then we had a Renekton, which, of course it's a Renekton. It's going to go to Hanabi. Not this time. Maple piloted that champion. So PSG definitely showing they still have a few tricks up their sleeves.
Maple has done a lot of different champions this time around. We have 8 champions in his pool as of now. Actually, I cannot count. That's 9 champions already for him.
It's too many to count, Clement. Too many.
We have a bit of flexing going around on either side, and now we're going to head over to Machi Esports. I feel like Machi, this split, the biggest shining part of their roster definitely is Jimian, with his Silas and LeBlanc ascending to must-ban status for most teams. They've also upped their emote game right after the endgame screen. That has been very enjoyable. We've had the ukuleles, we have the face masks come out, all the different emotes. So that's always a pleasure to watch from Machi. They're stepping up their social game. But, coming back to how they fared in the past against PSG, usually what we have seen is because PSG has such great laners and because River is the king of really getting first bloods, we have seen Machi just find it very difficult to actually get in the game at all. They've been kept out. Maple has been having the better edge against Jimian, and Hanabi, frankly, has had the better match against Likai as well. So we'll see if the growth of their youngsters is enough to topple these experienced vets coming in.
And you can see one of the key differences between these two is how much Jimian is relied on to output the damage for his team by comparison to Maple. Maple's been playing around with a couple of different things. We've seen him on a handful of control matchups, even though mostly he's been more about those assassins. The closest any team came to taking them down was Boom, and I believe that he was forced onto the Lissandra in that one, or at least put onto the Lissandra to counteract the LeBlanc matchup, which he happily took. But if anyone provided a strategy to maybe take down the Kings, Boom Esports did it, so you have to think Machi will have been taking notes.
Yeah, I will say I don't expect LeBlanc to go through the draft. I would be
probably
very shocked if Maple allows LeBlanc to go through. And if he's on blue side, he might even take it himself. That's kind of the interesting thing. Both of these players are very highly touted on their LeBlanc play. In the meantime, PSG banning away just sort of the safe champions for Talon. We do think of, in terms of the matchup, the biggest mismatch is probably coming from the bottom lane, where Unified is PSG's best player, and I feel like Talon is probably Machi's least dependent on carry. So, it's interesting to see like Ziggs just being taken away, and even on blue side, they're not going to let LeBlanc through the draft.
No, not at all. Viego will be the final ban there for Machi. So PSG, first things first. What will they be going for here?
A couple of power picks for them have been the Renekton, and of course the Xin Zhao. I think both are suitable champions here.
There it goes.
I like the Renekton because we have seen Maple flex the Renekton into mid lane. We were talking about this in the pregame where it felt like Hanabi was always playing this Renekton, but Maple definitely switched it up last week, allowed them to go for an AP jungler in the Nidalee as well. So PSG, before getting into the postseason, they definitely don't want you to think that they're a one-track team. It could be a complete ruse and they never play Renekton mid again, but you also always have to keep that in the back of your mind.
Definitely a lot of flex possibility, just unexpected, and team will have to keep on track of it. Now, there is another solid AP jungler up and available, one that is a little bit more contested around the league, that Diana getting left open. That could easily fall into the hands of River. He's had some pretty impressive play on it. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think that was the pentakill.
It was on the Xin Zhao.
Xin excuse me. But he still acquitted himself pretty well on this Diana. So they will get it locked in. Of course, Gemini opted into the Lee Sin instead. They will fill out their bottom lane on the Machi side with the Varus and PSG. We haven't seen Unified actually play the Kalista yet, but that's about to change.
All right, I like this Kalista pick against the Varus. It's very strong in lane against it, and because of your martial pose mechanic, it's very easy to dodge away from abilities. And it also works really great with the Diana as well. It essentially allows Diana another gap closer where you can just throw her in to get a better moonfall later on into the backline. So PSG, they're one of the few teams in the PCS that do this, but they are able to draft blue side straight power picks. They don't care about your counter picks whatsoever. They're just taking what's best in lane, in the meta, and just slamming down hard on the early game with it.
PSG do like to roll things fast. You know, we often joke about how they go for trying to speed run the PCS. That record may have gotten a little disrupted last week against the likes of Boom in a 49-minute game, but all the same, they definitely like to try and play it fast and quick. A couple seconds remaining. Machi had already banned away the Lucian. That's something that Maple has played at least once this split.
Yeah, you don't really expect that to go to anyone else on the team. Well, on the other hand, Machi, this is also a fairly interesting draft. They're giving over priority in the mid lane. You have to expect that the Renekton's actually just going to go mid this time around to bully out the Sylas. It also is a pick that Lee Kai could potentially pick up if a good matchup shows itself, but I can't really think of one for Sylas. So
yeah, it screams comfort pick to me. It's something Jimmy has shown because he really likes to play it, and he's shined on. He's one of the people who really has made the Sylas look good.
We have seen this sort of draft from Machi a lot where they just don't engage in the early game, and if you look across their stats, all of their lanes actually are negative in terms of GD at 15. So Machi is a team that plays far more 1-3-1 than anyone else. They just sit back and scale for the most part, and they're great at making picks and finding flanks in teamfight situations. That's what they're strongest as. I wouldn't say laning phase or 5v5s, but definitely their sense to hunt out solo picks has been what has kept them in the upper echelon. In the meantime, Machi are going to ban away the Rise here. Sort of just interesting generalist picks. They're still not giving up hope on the potential that Renekton is just going towards the top of.
Yeah, I think they are just trying to be as safe as possible. I do like the Alistar pickup for Koala because it's also a takeaway from the combination of the Kalista Alistar that we have seen kind of do a lot of damage. It does leave the Nautilus open as a possibility, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see that, but maybe PSG got something different in mind. Oh boy! Maple is going to be back on the Yasuo.
All right, I guess Machi, their gamble was correct here as the Yasuo comes in, and this is a fun composition to watch. You hit level 6, everyone presses the R button, tons of engage coming through. I don't mind the Tark, it actually does work out here. Sejuani is actually an interesting pick here. We have seen a little bit of it sprinkled around. Incredibly tanky.
It's going to be the Trundle, though. I think that'll be the Trundle support. All right, Kai Wing, let's go.
Yeah, I like Trundle in the composition, but not really as a support. The way the Trundle works is your pillar gets a knockoff too, and it's very hard to dodge on Trundle pillar knockup. Like, it comes out instantaneously. There is no wind-up whatsoever, and it has a fairly long range. So PSG are just going once more for a straight pick composition.
this is something that they like to go through, and I think one of the few teams in the world that can actually fully execute on just straight picks. Well, on Machi's end, this is much more comfortable for them. I think this is again another 1-3-1 comp where we have scaling lanes that do win out later in the Sylas and the Gnar, and a 3-man core that is very defensive. You have disengage from both Alistar and Lee Sin to keep Atlan alive. The question for me is, even with all that protection, I don't think they survive. The problem with PSG is, how do you block a pillar? Like,
yeah, that is always a bit of a question to ask. I think Machi are comfortable when they are trying to defend and they are trying to like find those side lane plays. But the problem is PSG are just that team that really doesn't let you get into that phase of the game. So stylistically, it is really interesting.
It definitely is. I just fail to see how Gemini survives a combo if Trundle is involved. Like, you get pillared. The key here is that he doesn't pillar Atlan directly. He actually just pillars Lee Sin. If you get the combo on Lee Sin, that should be enough to kill him even before Gore Drinker. So we'll see how that one actually works out, but it's a very interesting dynamic here. We have a 1-3-1 team that wants to scale up and play for later game, while on the other side you have just a straight up pick comp that is insanely heavily indexed into just doing that one thing on the map and getting the snowball rolling.
PSG are confident, and they've really earned the confidence. This is a team that has shown time and again that they are the strongest team in the PCS. They have not dropped a game yet. I keep mentioning it because the closest they've come was last week. Boom Esports took them to 49 minutes. Unified had to be a hero to steal objectives. He ended up getting the whole MVP of the week as a result of that and other performances. But PSG, such an incredibly strong team, and they can play with confidence with a pick comp like this. We'll see if it works out. Will they grab themselves a 12th win here, as they are already locked into playoffs, looking to try and lock that #1 spot soon enough. But Machi will not go down easily. They want to drag this one out. We'll see if they can do it.
I love Machi. They all flash the Machi flags together. This is very different to a team like Megabank Beyond Gaming, because Megabank flashes PSG. So it kind of feels like the 90s NBAs versus the 2000s NBAs. And I definitely prefer this more rival approach as we get a great start here.
Yeah, looking for the level 1 onto River. Flashed out as he's already chunked out.
Ooh.
And I think they'll be happy with the fact that they get a summoner for free. Don't end up following.
That's actually massive. Diana's already pretty weak in the jungle by herself. Gives Gemini's a lot of opportunity to go for a level 3 gank. And we have Lika with a ward drop down on the blue already. So River's pathing is going to get spotted out, and Gemini can actually adjust his pathing accordingly. He went from the top side now to the bot side. And I think he's going to be looking for River as he does come around to his own blue.
Yeah, I like this move. Adaptation from Machi. River doesn't actually have time to back away, so his camp clear probably going to be a little disrupted in this one. As you mentioned, already a little bit slower on the likes of this Diana, and we will get underway. The landing phase here.
Pretty interesting cheeky play coming out from Machi. They're pulling the wave, so the wave is going to shove into them. And this just means that goodbye Gemini, you're never going to see your jungler. He's just going to be on the top side of the map. It's a nice move to use if your opponent is a bit stronger on the bottom side and you prefer to play for your solo lanes instead. We see that directly from Machi already. Meanwhile, Hanabi getting chunked out. This is a lane where Renekton typically does get shoved early on, but later on you will see Gnar start to come out ahead just with the trades and with the ease of denying Slice and Dice. You slow Renekton down. I want to talk a little bit about this Trundle. Trundle support was actually first played in the PCS specifically as a counter against Alistar, because there's not a whole lot that Alistar can do. After you run up to him, slow him, he knocks you back and you pillar him. So that's kind of how the trade goes, and it's so difficult for Pre-6 Alistar to actually escape from that. We first saw it from Dreamer, who himself was an Alistar main, and then he just discovered the perfect counter Alistar and ran it a ton of times.
Koala's going to be in for a rough lane, is what you're telling me.
Yep. That's exactly what I'm saying.
All right. Yeah, and that, honestly, I don't really find it all that surprising that Unified and Kaiwing are going to be able to get the jump on their opposite number. I think that is where, in terms of these two teams, I think that is the most lopsided lane. Not because of the champion choices, but just in terms of skill level. Unified and Kaiwing are they're just on a different level.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on this one, and despite us hyping up, Gemini was spotted here.
Yeah, he was. Tags in. Maple there with that win wall. Here comes River. Oh, he actually turns onto Gemini. Actually has a level advantage after all of that. River recovering nicely.
He did get a leash from his bottom lane, so is expected to clear faster, but that's still pretty impressive for him to do. And with that level lead, it looks like he's trying to deny Gemini from going for the bot lane scuttle here.
The Jimmy looks like they had a lot of damage left in the tank. River, a little bit low on the health bar, but so is Jimmy. Very extended kind of dance and trade here. They've actually brought Kaiwing even up from bot lane.
It was a pretty risky play from PSG. They want to get the shove back, and they're willing to go forward even though River does not have his flash and could die easily. They had Kaiwing roaming up first, so they're willing to go for that trade, but Machi also has their entire bot lane shifting as well, and at the end we do have Gemini catching up and finally taking away the scuttle as well. But oh, look what River is doing. This is so clever for him. He's going to be up 3 camps in total after this Crux.
After that early invade and nearly chunking him out, burning his flash, he still doesn't have up. River has managed to not only find a level advantage, but find the counter jungle. You gotta love it. Meanwhile, he actually decides not to back. Lee Kai nowhere near full on this Narbar. Probably gonna have to burn his flash after this one. Just the hop, though. Nicely done.
No trouble whatsoever, Hanabi holds on, and don't think they would have had enough damage to burst before the flash came in, so I think it's a smart play from both sides, just holding on to their abilities there. And we finally do have Gemini doing what we expected him to do at the start of the game, which is chase down this Diana. River, he knows that he did not back, so he has an item lead over him at this point, and a summoner lead. So for us to play pretty carefully around these brushes.
Ooh, Gemini lands a Sonic Wave onto the lead Wolf camp. Doesn't really find any extra damage. But he will be trying to bully River out of his own jungle. Starts on the Gromp. You can see Hanabi. He goes down for a ward. I thought maybe he wanted to try for a collapse, but nothing doing.
Yeah, with his mid laner and jungler back, there's nothing much he can do right here. So you just try to roam out of lane and make sure that he's not a sitting duck for an easy gank. His lane position was not very comfortable for him, so he does back out of that one. Meanwhile, taking a look at the rest of the map here, we do actually have a small lead coming in for Talon, which is pretty nice in this matchup. You usually do expect the Kalista to come out a little bit further ahead. That hasn't happened just yet, as Unified is going to catch up to CS here and actually even overtake. So I guess all in the world is back to normal.
Yep, as much as it can be. PSG perfectly happy to just kind of sit back and relax for a little bit. Level 6s just starting to come in, though. That does mean that the pick composition will start to come online. Have to see if roams start happening. Hanabi does have teleport. Maple does not, as he'd already used to get back to lane, matched by Jimmy. And, they pick a number of these champions that have some knock-up abilities to enable Maple's Yasuo. And Maple is one of those players that has such explosive potential. If he gets rolling, it can be absolutely GG for the other team.
Have to concur with that. And for Machi, it's Gemini.
Gemini, that was cheeky.
Sick. I was just about to say for Machi, it's actually very hard to find a place to gank. I don't think you want to gank Renekton with Mininar, and you can't really do anything about the bottom lane. The bottom lane has Cleanse on Kalista, and then Fate's Call for Kaiwing. So I don't think you're going to be finding a kill there either. Realistically, only mid lane is a target for Machi, but at the same time, if the combo comes through, I actually think Maple and River win that one. So Machi are taking a lot more than just Gemini and Jimmy, and they're taking the whole crew.
Yeah. Ooh, last breath stolen by Jimmy. Trying to think of the knockups. It's mostly Gemini. No, it's Alistar as well.
Mm-hmm.
They've actually got a lot of things to work with. Stolen last breath. That's kind of cool.
So both comps are playing around last breath in Yasuo.
Exactly. I don't know, man. Jimmy has made this. He has made this Silas look really good. Man got 4 MVPs in a row. Streak was broken last week, but Machi had just been on an absolute tear. And honestly, if not for their loss to I think it was it Boom? Yeah, no, it was Beyond Gaming, excuse me. last week. They honestly, I think they'd still be on a streak.
I agree with that one. Coming back into the game, I feel like PSG has a decided advantage coming into this fight. If I'm Machi, I'm not willing to fight this at all.
No, I don't think so.
Mikai, no Mega
Leave that alone.
Narabar. And Silas is also scaling up, so yep, they just let that one go. Head back to their lanes. And for Machi, this is okay. They want to scale up a little bit more and just make sure they don't fall into any traps where they get wombo comboed upon. It's very easy to burst down single targets in this situation. As we have mentioned, Trundle is one of those... I think he's a disgustingly underutilized champion when it comes to Yasuo compositions. Trundle jungle plus Yasuo is probably some of the most disgusting combos I've seen in the LPL when that combo was actually meta and we casted that. It's just impossible to dodge out of. The pillar comes out way too fast. There's nothing you can do about it. And Trundle also has King's Tribute, actually the Subjugate, that takes away resistances, coupled with the fact that Last Breath also takes away armor, and you're basically taking true damage from Yasuo.
Yeah, it's a pretty sweet combo, and you gotta wonder sometimes why we don't see it more often. I guess the Yasuo, always a little bit of a risky proposition, but it has started to come a little bit more into vogue here. I know Liab finding their win on that one with the Diana as well. Same kind of composition, or at least same kind of combination, I should say, with the addition of the Trundle. PSG, though, not finding any kills, not finding any picks just yet. It's a team that likes to go pretty fast and often, but they have been playing the objective game at least very well, taking away a Rift Herald freely, and now finding this Ocean Dragon without a whole lot of trouble, starting to stack on advantages.
If we think about this Drake, it's going to be about 25 minutes until we have Dragon Soul. So that's still a little bit too early for Machi. I think their best case scenario is to sneak away one of these Drakes, make sure that timer goes to 30 minutes. You feel a lot more comfortable if you're the team with Silas and Gnar to delay that Dragon take. So I think for Machi, like the best play coming up soon is actually to give up on the other Herald in exchange for Drake. If they get that exchange, I think it'd be massively in their favor, and they would be able to scale out the game just a little bit longer. In the meantime, it does look like PSG are trying to accelerate this game with a potential Herald drop into... usually it's a mid lane because it's most easy to get your combo off, but I feel like a bot lane would do as well given how much engage they actually have in the bottom side, especially against an Alistar.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Actually, the dual lane backing away, that might give them an opportunity, but they don't quite sniff it just yet. A lot of wards actually spot them on the Machi side. This is where they're going to be able to get it down and at least get a couple of plates off as they pop it well within the range. There is Gemini sniffing around if they want to try to go for a play. Kaiwing actually gets caught, forced to flash away, and he takes a bite out of Gemini. With the Subjugate, even has enough sustain to just stay in this and chases them off.
Really good answer coming in from Machi. The Herald drop is indefensible, but they get the flash and the ultimate out of Kaiwing, which makes their chances in this next team fight quite a lot better. As Maple just trying to zone away Jimian going back to his own lane.
Jimian hijacks another Last Breath. Not going to really worry about that being a big combo potential for some time yet. But Machi doing a good job of just trying to stall things out a little bit here. There's PSG advantages growing little by little, but no first blood just yet, 12 minutes into this game. And if you're Machi, you take those.
Yeah, for sure. And now Gemini coming in. Both junglers are here.
Ooh, Gemini gets the kickoff, lands on the river, doesn't quite find the Sonic Wave. In comes Koala, but the teleport means they're not going to go for a big play into the Moonfall, and Gemini does take some damage from Maple, and that will be the first blood to the PSG mid laner.
Yeah, I was surprised Machi actually hung around after that play fumbled. PSG still have their full combo there and are willing to use it. Great.
King's Corruption going for it. Looking for another answer, finding Kaiwing on the return kill. Just able to do it as Jimmy, and will be able to pick that up. Mid laner's getting kills across the board as Atlan takes down River. He was just caught between a sea of Machi players, and Machi come out ahead after all.
It does end up being a 2-for-1 at the end, and I think PSG were really just caught off surprise right there at how aggressive Atlan played that. Let's look at this play first. It definitely did not end up the way they wanted to. There's no reason to Dragon Rage River if you're going for Maple. And on the flip side, I'm actually just kind of surprised Gemini didn't immediately get out of there. They thought Koala was going to be enough to save them, but Hanabi TP's in.
surprises them, and afterwards, this is a play where I feel like Highwing, you guys should, you know, really be running away from this one. Highwing didn't get the memo, walks up here and just pays with it with his life.
I love how when Silas steals an ultimate, he still gets a lot of the like visuals. So he had like a really cool sword for a second, made out of his chains. It's just those nice little touches, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, Machi coming up. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I do want to mention what a value flash that was for Atlan. He flashed once.
Oh yeah.
But both Maple and River were like, okay, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah, burning that meaning that River actually couldn't get out on the aftermath of it all. So while PSG have been building up little bits of advantages from turret plates, you can see the ones taken down on the bottom side, courtesy of the Rift Herald. Machi just about equalized in the gold game. Not quite there, but close enough. And this is going to be a big push. Teleport down to the bottom. Koala trying to chunk away. Ooh, they stayed a little bit too long in this one. And Koala will be sacrificed for the greater good, it seems. If he can walk away, though, actually, the golden cow, as Jimmy tags his way in, River takes Koala.
Oh, he gets 3!
But it's not enough for Jimmy to get the kills.
I like the idea that it was so close to actually clinching down on both River and Unify. The damage doesn't come through fully, or at least he didn't have enough of it. We're gonna watch that play again. Koala actually played this incredibly well, you know, blocking out on the targets there, giving him some time, putting a lot of damage onto Kaiwing, and then just baiting out the last breath as well. Doesn't really get the kill here. He finally does, and Silas goes onto the back line, but unfortunately doesn't have the full combo.
You know, you were talking about that Machi wants to do that kind of thing later in the game. A little hypey to try and go for it at 15, but I you know, it was PSG that went for the play in the beginning. I do like the idea, just unfortunate Jimmy doesn't have the damage to execute it yet.
Oh, yeah, for sure, Kieran. I think PSG, this is the point where they're trying to accelerate the game. And we have the situation where both the Herald and the Drake are up. If I'm Machi, I just want to steal away the Drake, make sure I'm not forced into a Dragon Soul teamfight at 25 minutes. So I like the play here. They're not even trying to put vision on Herald. They're just going to go for the Dragon play here to give them more time to scale up later. I don't think there's much that PSG are going to do about it. So good find there, break up the Drake stack. And PSG, unfortunately for them, their collapse is way too slow. They could have just gone for the Herald instead.
Well, they get the Drake, they get out, but they don't get much more than that. Machi able to make their escape. We will have an Infernal Rift this game. Both teams should be pretty happy about that one.
Best for Wombo combo team compositions. Can kill the enemy team with more, with less used.
Koala fully spotted in that brush, not to worry about it at all. The PSG, they're setting up a brush of their own. Looking potentially for Gemini. Ooh, that's going to be the start, and into the last breath combination, they will be able to take down Atlas before the fight starts proper. Now Koala running for the hills, and Gemini caught up against the wall. PSG snap the trap shut.
Oh, that's so crazy how far River was able to go with that one, just with the Hextech rocket belt going forward. He doesn't even have to use his flash. And watch this again. Atlan still at a ways away. Even though he does tag the ultimate. Oh, he doesn't actually misses the ultimate. Oh, that's kind of a weird interaction. I thought he would land the ultimate. But you know, River's still able to close up over 1,000 distance on that one, and it's so hard playing against this combo. That was kind of a unfortunate play for Machi. Like, their play call was definitely to give up the Herald anyway. They were never going to contest it. But giving up 2 extra kills plus the mid lane tower is a lot more than they should have lost.
And the kills going on to Maple and River certainly isn't helping for them right now. I think only one of them went to River that time around. But PSG are executing on the game plan. They're moving things forward. Machi just unfortunately punished a little bit by positioning. But yeah, it is hard to detect that much distance can really be closed. It doesn't look like Diana can cover that much without flashing, but certainly can.
Now, the extra movement right there is catching out Atlan. And losing the mid lane tower when you're trying to play the 1-3-1 is the most detrimental. Because your 3-man can't really even stay mid. You can see the pings going down on PSG. They've opened up that mid lane. They know they can just push this into the second tier tower. There's nothing Machi can do about it. And from there, you can swing into either side lane. So it's going to be hard for Machi to actually buy time for both Gnar and Sylas to scale up. And I feel like the game plan has to transition to finding picks at this point. You do have the Chains of Corruption and the Dragon's Rage kick. So if you can just open up on the mid lane as we see the pings going down here, I feel like that's a worthwhile line to explore.
They have to find an answer for this siege top. They've already lost 2 turrets.
It's going to get a third one.
There's going to be Koala. Oh,
Chase
they
Corruption.
find the root. River does pop his stasis, and the rest of PSG just fully cover him like a phalanx, and that's going to be the Fate's call to pull back the Trundle. Even Hanabi was in there to try and help defend, and a nice little escort mission to get PSG out of harm's way.
Yeah, and we also got a teleport out of Jimian right there while he was pushing the bottom lane. So this is a straight win for PSG. 2,000 gold in the bank, up even further without anything really expended right there. They didn't even have to pop a flash to get that one going. So well done on PSG's side. And you know, I think Machi had the right idea to try and collapse and find a pick earlier on, but PSG actually congregated even faster than Machi did. And it was unfortunate. I feel like Jimian just misjudged how much he could actually get done with the TP and sort of waste that one away. So now PSG, whenever they see Jimian on one side of the map, they can fully just group on the other side, and there will be no answer.
PSG definitely sensing and moving with the map a lot better than what Machi can do. And at 20 minutes into this game, their lead compounding to about 5,000 ahead. At this point, transitioning into the side lane seems to be pretty easy peasy. Leaving Maple up towards the top side. No one can really deal with him solo at the moment. I mean, this is a Yasuo that's gotten rolling.
Yeah, and we do have the Yasuo already completed with his crit needs. So he's going to be starting to hurt quite a bit at this point. The thing about Wombo combo compositions is you either need to stay spread out enough where the Wombo combo can't kill out all of you, or you need to be tanky enough where the damage isn't going to just one shot. So at this point, Machi, probably their best bet is still to scale up and stay split. I don't think they should contest anything right now. It's just a farm simulator for Jimian. You pick up as many of those minions as you possibly can, and we'll see you later. They don't really have Drake pressure, but they will have Baron pressure later on. So all they have to do is just have vision on Baron and just wait for the best.
Well, they are going to try and get the play to start. Kaiwing does get jumped on, but here comes the teleport to answer. Koala already jumped down before Hanabi even joins the fight, and there is nowhere for Koala to go. Atlan also gets chased down. Oh, you hate to see it for Machi right now, and I don't even know if Likai's getting away.
He does have the flash, so he should be fine.
But so does Kaiwing, and so does Unified. Oh, good night, sweet prince. That should be enough to get the kill. Gemini comes in for a relieving effort, and he didn't realize Maple was right there. Unified just gets killed, shoveled into his mouth.
Yeah, I don't think that was the play when you're down a TP. They go in with the member that doesn't have flash. If you watch this Koala, his timer is up. If he goes in, he's not coming back out. So a beautiful TP to just come in onto that one. They don't have any damage dealers, which was the weird thing about that attempt. Coming in for Machi, and on the flip side, don't watch that. That's definitely an R-rated play from Atlan. He flashes onto the wall and also accidentally auto attacks. Waste time there, so you know that's unfortunate for Atlan. He wasn't getting out, but that's a pretty bad way to go. You know, I think he died of shame rather than the mechanics.
Yeah, I think you might be right. PSG, talk about accelerating the game, Clement. They have really started to move this forward. Big gold advantage. The Baron now on all 5 members, and for Machi, I think it's kind of into desperation mode. I mean, they're spread out at the moment, but I don't know how much longer they're holding on to those inner turrets.
At the start of this game, I was thinking, how would Atlan survive all of this? And the answer is that he just can't survive all of this. It's pretty disgusting coming out from PSG. They didn't even use the pillar. Like, throughout this, all the catches on Atlan, they didn't even need to use it. The River and Maple were enough.
Yeah, I mean, PSG are just terrifying when they start getting ahead and they start getting these catches, getting these fights. Some of them have been kind of fed to them. I think a little bit of a questionable engage there by Machi and by Koala in particular. Also, he gets found by River. Nowhere is safe. This is the PSG horror show.
The scary thing about this comp is how many more tools they could still be using. They can use Fate's Call to throw Diana even further. And as we mentioned, the pillar is still there, so PSG has actually not even been stretched to their extremes, given their toolkit that they drafted for themselves.
That's true. They haven't really had to use all the tools, as they've not met as much resistance. Machi, in the very early stages of this game, kept this one decently close, but PSG kind of do what they pretty much always do, and just start finding those little advantages, finding those kills, and just out-executing at every stage.
Yeah, and I don't think we're ever going to see a chance for the 1-3-1 to actually come online for Machi at this point. The game is way too out of hand, 10,000 gold down, and they're severely lacking damage. They haven't been able to take anyone even below half health in the last 2 team fights, so...
Teleport in on the minion. Even Maple, they're just going for the straight-up 5v5 push. This is how confident the team is. There is a teleport flank here from Jimmy. Is it going to be enough as he's holding onto a Moonfall? A little hesitation there. They're not going to go for it just yet, waiting for the position. PSG, they're a little bit too smart to take that bait. Here we go, that's going to be the play. In goes Koala. Does try to find it. They don't have enough damage on the side. Hanabi zones Jimmy the entire time. Machi don't lose anybody just yet, but you have to think that's about to change. And now they just go in for a second wind, and the last breath, Maple just opens fire. Unified, pulling out all those Ren stacks for even more. Jimmy gets one revenge kill, but it's just a consolation prize. They're looking at Nexus.
Hanabi dies for the team, goes down in a blaze of glory, and PSG are going to mop Machi up even faster than they did last time around. Wombo combo way too strong at this point. Only Jimmy is still hanging into the fight, but there's nothing he can do as the entire team of PSG is going golden.
Yeah, he tried for the last minute, does manage to get a kill, maybe pad a bit of those stats. River keeping his eye on the prize. This is actually getting a little bit hectic here, but Unified does take the kill.
Oh, the laser!
Into the fountain. They're gonna stay alive. Oh no, that's the last second.
Away.
Good job, Unified. You earned it.
Unified takes no prisoners. He wants the game to end here now. He wants to go for dinner and enjoy his weekend. So he's gonna shut down Machi. The final fadeaway there. I feel like this game was just the problem of Machi not being able to hang on when they had a composition that definitely needed them to go later in the game. We'll watch this engage again. It's a very good start from Koala. He gets a 3-man knock-up, but the follow-up is late. Likai doesn't jump in time. The Chains of Corruption is used, and no damage goes through just yet. Hanabi, I love his positioning here. He does go down in this fight, but look at how much time he buys the rest of the team. He forces Gemini to land a Q before he can go in, and Gemini dies instantly when he finally finds his opportunity. So that was beautifully played, really well use of terrain, and kudos to Hanabi for making that fight so incredibly one-sided.
Yeah, really just zoned out, not just one, but two members of Machi trying to follow up in the engage. And it seemed like there wasn't any good options at that point in the game. So Machi just doing whatever they could to try and get back into it. Definitely a few unforced errors when maybe they should have been trying to play back for scaling, trying to contest or trying to go for a fight, setting up around the Baron pit. Didn't quite work for them, but, those mistakes always look bigger than they really are against a team like PSG, because PSG just mercilessly punish you, and here they do it again.
Yeah, frankly, this entire time, I actually felt like Machi did a pretty good job of avoiding the wombo combo. If you think back pre-25 minutes, the entire way, they only got comboed once. And that one mistake was enough for PSG to wrestle away the entire game. It was the kill onto Atlin, which snowballed into the mid lane tower being taken away. And once the mid lane tower falls, 1-3-1 doesn't have a lot of defensive posture to hang on to, because you can push down mid and then transition to either side lane. So that makes farming underneath your tower pretty much impossible. And even though they had counter picks, not really counter picks, but picks that can win out later with scaling in the Silas and the Gnar, they just never got online. They never got their chance to do what they wanted to do. So just unfortunate. I don't think that this style of play coming out from Machi is ever going to be able to take down PSG. And those sound like very harsh words, but I honestly feel like PSG, they have too much of a lead in terms of individual laners, and then when you give them a tempo composition like this one, which you can only play against with very thin margins of error, you're just not going to come out ahead. And I really want to see Machi try something different the next time they face PSG, because we've tried this twice already, and it has not worked a single time.
Yeah, well, that should be in the playoffs the next time it all happens. Even though Machi technically haven't locked it yet, they shouldn't have too much trouble finding their way to the postseason. But for PSG, just kind of dust off the fringes. They make it look a little easy in how well they're able to punish even the smallest of missteps. And yeah, you're right. Stylistically, it is hard to try and play that against a team like PSG, who really will force you onto the back foot. And then if you don't have any recourse for that, there's not a lot you can do. Just power picks all around. I like that they took the Diana and Yasuo combination. River really made that Diana look terrifying. I mean, if you're Atlan, you're like, wait a minute, how can he cover that much distance the entire time? Didn't even have to burn the flash. Maple will, however, be the MVP for the game, getting set up for success, but certainly taking the reins. Honestly, when he is on an assassin and gets rolling, there is nothing that can stop this man.
Yeah, and so far we have seen multiple teams go for the Diana plus Yasuo combo. Saw this from Liab, saw this from Hong Kong Attitude, and now PSG has played this composition twice already, and there just hasn't been a lot of great answers. I think the best sort of response to this is just going something like Renekton mid. But, for PSG, they have plotted this out far in advance, and they picked the Renekton first pick on the blue side themselves, so you don't even get a way to survive sort of the burst damage that Yasuo and Diana can throw at you. Mm-hmm. And we're going to see if other teams can actually emulate this composition. I really like this, especially at the level of play PCS is at, where a lot of teams do have small mistakes, and you have a composition that can punish those extremely well. You have long-range catch potential, and the go button is very evident for the rest of your teammates to follow up on. I honestly don't know why more teams aren't playing this comp.
Yeah, it's simple, it's strong, it's a lot of fun to watch. What is not to like? And speaking of things to watch, we've got Impunity versus Boom up next. We got to take a short break first, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.